Hello, everyone. My name is Jazz, and today we are going to start a completely new video series, a completely different, subject cloud or whatever you want to call it as. I basically have had a huge itch to do a occult saga, the occult saga is probably how this is gonna be called. I don't know how I'm gonna acronym it or whatever I'm gonna do about it, but basically, considering that I have always had weird experiences and have been working very closely with spirituality and studying it for the last I don't know how long. I'm gonna say it's like at least a minimum of 8 years, but depending on where you would draw the line from the experiences that I've had, you could say that maybe it's more so like 10. So anywhere between like 8 and 10. That's how long I've been doing this stuff with for. So I have always been also pushed and pulled to share the knowledge, the experiences, the ideas that I have surrounding spirituality and whatever you can also like research and have, but then also how it translates to your personal experience. Both of those are really different. Everyone has different experiences when it comes to spirituality and the subject and topic. So whatever I'm gonna be sharing doesn't need to determine who or how you are within your spiritual practices or experiences. I don't necessarily want to create like arguments or debates on the subject because none of this can be really proved, which is sad, yeah. But that doesn't mean that it's not a real experience for people and is relevant. There's a lot of people that are interested in spirituality but never really get into it, not just because like of fears or other things holding them back, maybe society and family, but they also might not be getting into it because it's it's work. You might not be allowed by certain spiritual rules, or maybe you don't have the spiritual experience either in this current life, maybe in past lives, whatever it is, right? Maybe your life is just not made for it, and all of it is fine, but it is still such a huge conversation topic that is such a interesting part of like questions about existence and life and how things work and if they are this or that or whatever, right? And I can, yeah, I guess I can recount my own experiences or understanding and hope that it's not necessarily gonna be the answer to all, but I do think it's going to bring clarity to a lot of people who aren't spiritual, who are just getting into spirituality, is maybe researching but not practicing it, right? And who might have actually even also studied it for the better part of their life and isn't necessarily like done with it, right? Maybe is continuously expanding and not staying stuck with one school, one teaching, one what have you. So yeah, I hope you'll enjoy the series as much as I will. And the one thing that keeps popping up to date for me, as well as the last like maybe 2, 3 days, is the topic of the astral. So the astral is a very foggy point of reference or idea. There is a lot of definition to it already being like the specific place or the specific experience where you are going to other worlds or dimensions or what have you, right? And there's a huge expectation that it is mostly done when you are asleep or when you go to sleep, right? That you go out of your body, you go into the other spaces or dimensions of our existence, and you go through that experience in your energy body, in your soul body, whatever. You are basically like kind of maybe even taking your soul out, right, and taking it for a spin somewhere else. And that's mostly how it happens. A lot of people that get into astral experiences, they get into it through lucid dreaming. They start lucid dreaming, they get proficient in it enough, and then they start astral projection, where it is a conscious experience in your dreamscape of you being in other worlds, around other beings, maybe touching on other different dimensions, right? Correct. So it's always, at least to me, been portrayed in quite a negative light as well. One really scary thing I heard is people that tried it got like weird and wacky and either possessed or they've started having like mental health issues. Most of those people have pushed the envelope as it is. They have really made it like a must to experience, but maybe they weren't prepared for that must experience. Maybe it wasn't even a part of what their life was about to begin with, right? But we have free will, so we can go anywhere from wherever we are. Maybe sometimes we just need to prove it more to ourselves or to the universe or whatever, right? Before we start experiencing it in full. But the one of the most common ways I've heard the astral being described is you going out of your body and hearing the other world where you expect like ghosts and other beings to be, right? Everything's a little bit more dark or weird, has this hue or sound to it, and you're consciously awake in a dream, but it's not actually something that is a dream. It's you actually gaining consciousness in a different place and becoming super duper aware of it. So yeah, there's only been like negative connotations on it for me personally. Getting stuck out of your body, not knowing how to go back home to your body, to your house, not knowing how to protect yourself against certain entities, demons, and beings, hearing creepy noises. That's a huge one. That's a big one. And in general, like being stuck in more of an in-between place where you're limited and you don't know how to even control your body or how to react to the point that you are outside of your body and you are disconnected. You can't go back. Never really heard good things about the Astral when I was younger. Probably another reason I was really afraid of the movie Insidious. The reason it was more creepy and scary to me than anything else. But like a big part in truth about the astral is that it's actually not essentially or only those dark dimensions. It's not only achieved through dreaming. It's not only you having out of body experiences that way. And it's not necessarily something that everyone should be experiencing or getting into, but it's also not that dangerous, and it doesn't need to be done in your sleep. You can actually be one of those people that is experiencing the astral in the waking life. The astral is basically this overall umbrella term for all of the weird spiritual in between places, or I guess like this world and everything else in between of it. The astral is the you could say the energy reality of everything that is in multiple places, in the same place of Earth, and the different versions of Earth. The dreamscape, where we all have our own dreams, is in there as well. We have our own astral spaces most of the time, either just as a actual place within the astral somewhere, whatever dimension you like, wherever you're more used to being, right, wherever you're traveling, but also there's a whole big space of the astral that is within and all us. It's just all us. Um, they relate and connect, but also you could say, are completely different versions. One is more external, the other one is more of an internal reality. Um, Going into other people's dreamscape, not really a thing that happens for everyone all the time. Not everyone is even allowed to do that. The dreamscapes are personal to each and every person, and then there's more of a common pool, and then beyond that, you can go more or less wherever. And everyone perceives and experiences it differently. So I'm more sharing on, I guess, like all of the different ways I've seen it between people, within myself. It's not something you can make like a textbook thing off of, but it is good to know that everything that we're experiencing, right, there's a parallel world of just energy where there's exchange, manipulation, intent forming, and it has a expression in the real world as well. If you don't know, like, why out of nowhere, out of random, you might be having a certain conversation or a certain experience or a triggering event occurring between you and a long term relationship, right? That might be because there was something in the astral that occurred. Like, it might be something that is unseen occurring in the real world. If you are psychic, you are connecting to yourself and to your gifts through the astral as well. Your empathy, right? Stuff like that. Like if you are having a session with a person and you're reading their energy, usually there's something as well happening in the astral. If you haven't learned how to relate your spiritual practices down here with whatever is happening in the unseen realm, you might be missing a lot of important details. A lot of important details. A huge part of reaching even more and higher levels of consciousness and altered states that are natural, right? You don't actually need to like consume anything for that. It's just you changing frequency, vibe, getting into a certain energy yourself personally in a different state of mind or perspective. The astral is one of the first extensions of our soul that really helps you go through that process and carry it out for other people while you are creating or doing spiritual practices. So, for example, this might clear up like what I mean a little bit in some ways. The astral has its own expression of visuals, sounds, happenings, intent, communication, feelings, right? Feelings is a big one, and just more or less anything and everything. If you're a clair sentient person that has any of the clairs, and I can't remember all of those names, I'd have to have it like actually written down. But if you're one of those people that has, let's say, the seeing clear sentient thing, right? You see most of the time different snippets of either energy and how it's being exchanged within the astral or actual things that are happening in the astral. So if you see ghosts, if you see shadow figures, if you see beings in your house, if you see the direct concept of the Akash, if you're tuning into it for yourself, right? Like maybe you see a whole hologram library in front of you, or you see a big timeline like computer uh, system, or you're seeing a bunch of parchments and books, right? That is you basically connecting to the input of you being in the astral, looking at the Akashic records and reading that information, and you're going to start seeing actual visuals or actual snippets and images, maybe whole storylines in your head about what happened in a past life, what is currently happening, how your energy is transitioning, stuff like that. If you have beings around you, right, and you start hearing different voices in your head, or you can actually feel as if there's voices, sounds, energy coming at you from different positions in the room, and you hear it like spoken directly to you. Maybe there's specific background to it. Maybe it sounds like your voice, but you know it's not your voice. Maybe it is a specific tone. Maybe it's not even any specific voice or words, but you sense that it is legitimately like a speech energy being like not translated, transitioned to you, and so you then start processing it and receiving it through this feeling of hearing, right? That's you hearing the astral. Feeling is kind of the same as in real life, but it is through still the astral, whatever's been happening there. If you meet a person in real life and you feel uncomfortable because of their intent, or you already have this feeling of what they're coming at you with, right, in terms of a conversation or a topic or an issue, and you just don't like it, like you have an instant response, it's kind of already like that as well in the astral. You are more aware and conscious of energy exchange in the point of how you're receiving it, how you're feeling about it, and what is the energy being given to you and what that feels like, right? Like, so how the being that's communicating to you is feeling, how the circumstance of this conversation is feeling. Maybe you can feel your guides reacting to you having this conversation. It is it is, I guess, a little bit more nuanced for other people who are a little bit more direct with things, because this is more of a case of either waves of emotion coming through you and over you, or you having different reactions for no specific reason. Unless you start tuning and tapping into it, then you can pinpoint things more. Or it's just weird and awkward like that, basically, right? So, yeah, any psychic ability you have, any practices you do, anything you are like going through, there's a parallel world that is experiencing itself as you are incarnate here and going through your life. And it's kind of like, yeah, an overlapping general umbrella of all the other things you might be experiencing in other realms and other lives at the same time in different places, right? Because time is a concept down here, but really everything is happening at once up there or wherever around us. And the astral doesn't work in tangible ways. It works very much in ways of energy and spirituality that you learn with time. There's a lot of different things that play into it. And that's a huge topic I can't get into if I just want to mention the point of what is the astral. If you personally are having issues with going into the astral, don't worry about it. Don't get into it. It's one of those things that really not everyone needs to go through. You already experience it and express it in more ways than you were freaking aware about, and that's more important. Like, you being present down here with all of who you are is way more important. If you want to learn how to connect with that energy and really want to get into it, the better and only way to do it is maybe become more conscious about what your dreams mean to you when you're having them. That would be the avenue that would be the most relevant. I really don't recommend being a psychonaut unless you are very sure you're a psychonaut, in the point of learning how to lucid dream, and then from there on out, go into connecting with your guides or other planets, right? Other dimensions as well, maybe connecting to aspects of you that are more conscious in different worlds and places, right? And being safe in that as well, taking precaution, because whatever happens in the astral has a direct and relatively important and significant impact on us down here. It's a fact from the point of how you might be conversating with someone in the astral as you are spending real life time with them, right? Or whatever you go through in your dream state, and whatever beings you meet, and whatever pacts or contracts you do with them. It shouldn't be taken for granted as just a joyride. It should be accepted as part of a higher concept of consciousness and like experience of that, like a higher level of awareness, where if you have this power of a higher awareness, you need to then take more accountability and responsibility in that, and not misuse it for your own power or selfishness or pain and fear. If you are tapping into it, you then should also take the accountability and responsibility of it, that you need to learn the rules, right? Learn etiquette surrounding it. Learn healthy energy hygiene. Learn how you connect with who you truly are. Who are you at your core? Who are you at your soul? Where, like, what aspects of your soul are very important and safe for you to connect into and tap into, right? and to not get not like whisked away almost basically. You can get spirited away in a way, not the same way of where I keep hearing like spirited away currently, but more in the case of like you can have friends when you wake up that you didn't want to have before you went to sleep. You know what I mean? You might start having like pain in your joints, in your back, and some other stuff. You might be having mental health issues pop up out of nowhere, thinking you're insane, and not really many people are going to be able to help you from the conventional side of society then because it'll be something spiritual. It's an energetical thing that is complex, and people that have experience with it, have practice with it, maybe have also a understanding of how to work with other people when it comes to the topic can help you then. Some spiritualists, some witches, some priests can help you and recovering aspects of yourself or relinquishing beings that are attached to you. But really, if you were going into it in a naive mindset, that was your first mistake. It was always supposed to be something you took seriously and something that was important to be respected for yourself as well as everyone around you, because it can affect people you're connected to. Just because you are going through something doesn't mean other people that care about you aren't going to go through the same thing. And that's a scary truth that is, I think, overlooked a lot of the time. Because if I'm just going through it, like, who cares, right? I'm the one that's going to suffer the consequences. That's not how it works. People that love you or just love you. They're just gonna go through the ride with you. And if they're not capable of it and they have no damn clue or idea about any of it, they are still tied to you. They still have a tunnel of like exchange, of energy exchange and connection with you. Unless you completely out them out of your life and then do other stuff in this astral realm or in this energy realm, they can't even help it, you know. So, and unless they're aware that they need to maybe then create those energetical boundaries with you or whatever that is, they won't be able to help themselves. You're gonna be the one in charge, and when you're going into the astral and just learning about yourself, that's one thing. But when you then need to take accountability for your whole pack, for your whole community and group, this is different. It's really, really different. It's not important for everyone to be going through this right now. I think it's an interesting topic, though, that I haven't ever really seen people talk about. It is really hard. All of the spiritual things are hard to put in concise and specific, particular ways that are tangible because the roles are different there. Most people experience it internally unless they have other friends to connect with or they have a really direct connection and situation with the spiritual realm, then they see signs and weird happenings and situations that they just can't explain, but they know it, it and feel how it connects or how it relates to them, right? Maybe they can't even speak about it, but they live it like vicariously or vigorously through their everyday routine life. Um, don't push the door. Don't go there if you don't need to. But if you're interested in this information and awareness, right? Maybe you can help a friend. Maybe you can be more conscious yourself that sometimes things are in your control, other times they're not, and maybe you gotta play out whatever energy is occurring from up there down here, right? Maybe you should just give yourself the more freedom and compassion in what you're going through because you aren't aware of the whole picture. Maybe you're a parent that has a weird spiritual wacky kid and you want to have more connection with them or more awareness of where they're at and what they're going through. Maybe you're just a explorer and traveler of consciousness, like most of us are, and are curious about the next part of your journey or what realm you're trying to connect to and figure out. Everyone's in different places, and if you're one of those people that is living with it in your waking life, each and every moment of each and every day, take it slow. Take the days you need to be disconnected from that. Take the days you need to step into it and take whatever knowledge and power you can from that, because it is a blessing if you were made to be this person and to be in this experience. It's not something that should scare you. If you were born with it, you already have more power than like most of the beings that would fuck with you in those different dimensions, in those different worlds or dreams, right? Or in these physical places that might have hauntings, attachments, and other residue of like certain dense energy. You are above that in the point that you have a physical body that is part of this experience, and you have leverage there. You have a gravitational pull when it comes to energy, intention, and manifestation, and this is an extension of you that's going to make your life more interesting and expansive and fulfilling. And, like, take your steps with it. You don't gotta be a master of it right away. And if you're scared, that's also okay. If you can find someone to talk about it to, or maybe just journal for yourself, that will help. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you, and it's not supposed to just be very scary. Like, imagine the experience of like the scariest thing you can imagine. You kicking it into a freaking bucket of its own shit and just being like, yeah, you have nothing on me, and continuing to do whatever you were doing in a happy vibe of not being affected negatively by this very scary thing, right, in your mind. It's yeah, it's an interesting topic that has a few other notes that I want to relate it to. I did want to say before am gonna leave it off, if you got disconnected from these experiences, take it for what it is. If you will be ready and need to, you will find your connection to that side of yourself, but maybe you got disconnected for the proper reasons that are meant to be happening. And it's not in your hands, it's not necessarily just in your control. Sometimes it's not in anyone's hands. We do play by our own free will, but destiny, fate, other things still have their own play. We're all always co-creating and cohabiting with existence and what it has for us. Um, you'll be fine wherever your road is going from here. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. Maybe it wasn't meant to be, and that's okay. Find value in your life, regardless of where you are. And I think this is a perfect episode, first episode, because there is so much I will have to like cover and go over that is hard to describe if you don't understand or believe in the astral being like this energetical space where everything and anything and nothing is occurring at the same time and point. It's just the intangible, non-physical reality that's everywhere, right? Um, Truth about like what is love or hate or light and how that may be impacting our relationships, experiences, how energy is occurring on the other side and how that might be occurring down here is like tied to it. Everything kind of goes back to this topic. And I hope that this will be a good starting point to go deep into other bits of knowledge that are very important for the spiritual journey, for spiritual experiences, for the belief of energy manifesting itself in our world. So, yeah. If you are wondering what the fuck I kept looking at, there's a bunch of freaking bees outside of my window, and I'm like, why are you swarming so bad? It's a bit distracting because there's so many of them. I could hear some of them buzzing behind the glass. So I got distracted looking through the window that's not even through the window. But whatever. It's cool. It's cool. Let me know if you enjoyed this episode and if you have any questions about Magica, the occult, the astral realm, spiritual things, psychic stuff, any of it that I can answer. If you have any questions, please let me know about either this topic or future topics. If you have recommendations, I'll be looking out for them as well. If you have your own stories to share and what have you, feel free to do that below. Show your support in whatever way you want. Likes, comments, or subscribes are all appreciated. And you can also find my link tree down below for more content and more other things that I do, like streaming, gaming, and everything else. So, yeah, I hope you're looking forward to this topic and whole saga series of the Occult Saga as much as I am. Um, let's keep going and learning more about the weird, unexplainable things that is out there in the universe. Yeah. Thank you. Peace.